Peace, 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 peace. Get this together. And then we will get started. What's the vibe for today? Holy breath. Yeah, we'll go holy breath. We'll go holy breath.
So, I was thinking.
It's so funny being back on this planet, man. It's been such a long time. I'm coming back from Atlantis, it's like, hey, oh wait, hey, yeah, oh wait, yeah. I'm back from Atlantis, you see, I was born on Earth, but I'm not from here. I am from the stars.
I'm not talking boulevard, oh no, no.
Oh no, no, no. Yeah. I say I was born on Earth, but I'm not from here. I am from the stars. I'm not talking boulevard. Oh no, no. You say I am from the sky. I am from the outside.
We was one with our creator, and then we fell. Oh my God, oh my God. Oh yes, we fell. Oh yes, we fell. But listen up. And all is mine, all is mine, all is mine. You see, we can make a heaven, you know why? We made our hell. Just look around. Oh, can't you tell? Okay, be careful what you think, and be careful how you move, and be careful what you say. You know why? These words is, oh, yeah. Okay, but listen well. We are nothing, and we are nothing. It's life at the thing right here is just a test. Just a test, though. To reconnect. The holy breath. I said now. Hey, hey. Talking boulevard. Oh, no, no.
I keep telling you I'm not from here.
Hey.
I was born on Earth, but
I'm not from here.
I am from the stars. I'm not talking boulevard. Oh no, no. I am from the sky, the sun of Most High.
Yeah. Oh. The Son of Most High. Oh my God. And praise the Lord. Oh. We are not the flesh. It's life at the death.
This life right here is just a test. Oh yes, you best.
Ooh-wee. All right, all right. Holy breath. Feeling great on this beautiful Friday. Peace, 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 peace. I'm Rami Salam Mel. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. We are talking about Moorish Americans, our religion, and honoring all true and divine prophets. Friday is a holy day if you don't know. But let's get into it. First and foremost, let's talk about Moorish Americans real quick. Who are Moorish Americans? Moorish Americans are so-called black people, Negroes, so-called Negroes, African Americans, colored folks, Afro Americans, Black Americans, so-called foundational Black Americans. All of these terms and labels that were given to us are not a correct or not a proper way to identify ourselves. We had a nationality before we were enslaved, and that nationality was Moorish, or our nationality is Moorish American, because we're descendants of Moroccans and born in America. So that's just to get some clarity on who are Moorish Americans if you don't know. And then I wanted to speak on religion, because I've seen a trend. I've seen a trend among some Moorish people, some Moorish Americans, who seem to think that disrespecting religion, um, trying to dismiss religion, dismiss other prophets, um, they seem to think that that's what we're supposed to be on as Moors and Moorish Americans. That I self law and master, so we don't need religion kind of vibe, and that's a mistake. That's incorrect. So I just wanted to bring some clarity and share some wisdom that I have found from these different books. But first, I just wanted to bring our attention to the Quran Circle 7, which was brought to us by divinely prepared by Noble Drew Ali, a prophet. He's the brother that came way back in 1913. Well, he was born in 1886, but came in 1913. Started teaching us about more science, about who we are, our nationality, our lineage, and specifically our creed, which is our religious faith. And if you go to the end of the book here, the chapter 48, it says the end of time and the fulfilling of the prophecies. And it says, the last prophet in these days is Noble Drew Ali, who is prepared divinely in due time by Allah to redeem men from their sinful ways and to warn of the great wrath which is sure to come upon the earth. John the Baptist was the forerunner of Jesus in those days to warn and stir up the nation and prepare them to receive the divine creed which was taught by Jesus. In these modern days, there came a forerunner that was divinely prepared by the great God Allah, and his name is Marcus Garvey. Shout out to Marcus Garvey, who came and did teach and warn the nations of the earth to prepare to meet the coming prophet, who is to bring the true and divine creed of Islam. And his name is Noble Drew Ali, who is prepared and sent to this earth by Allah to teach the old-time religion and the everlasting gospel to the sons of men. I wanted to highlight that. Noble Drew Ali was prepared and sent to this earth by Allah to teach the old-time religion and the everlasting gospel to the sons of men. Further down it says, we the Moorish Americans are returning to Islam, which was founded by our forefathers for our earthly and divine salvation. Was that the last one I want to read here? Then the last, line 10. Come all ye Asiatic of America and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights, because you are not Negroes. Learn of your forefathers' ancient and divine creed. It's really important that I'm highlighting that word creed. Let's check out the dictionary real quick. As Moors, we about the science of things. And one of the sciences that we use is etymology, understanding the true meaning of words, the origin, the root. Wow. Okay, creed. This is coming from, This is coming from the American Dictionary of the English Language, Noah Webster, 1828. Creed. Interesting. A brief summary of the articles of Christian faith assembled as the apostolic creed, that which is believed, any system of principles which are believed or professed as a political creed. Then 1 second here. Then this one is the Oxford American Dictionary of the English Language. This is why it's important to have multiple dictionaries, because you learn certain things in certain dictionaries that they didn't reveal in others. And then here in this one, we have creed, a system of Christian or other religious belief, a faith. A set of beliefs, a set of beliefs or aims that guide someone's actions. That's the one I was looking for. A set of beliefs or aims that guides someone's actions. I'm going to read that again. Creed is a set of beliefs or aims, like religious beliefs or faith, or aims that guides someone's actions. Now, religion. When you get down to the core of what religion, our creed is, it's a set of beliefs and aims that guides your way of your actions, your way of life. It's a way of life. Got to understand, religion or a creed is a way of life. Principles, a set of principles that you live your life by. Certain people have there's different ways of life that you can choose to live. You can choose the Christian way of life. You can choose the Jewish way of life. You can choose the Buddhist way of life. You can choose the Muslim or the Islamic way of life. And what's important for us to understand, especially as Moorish Americans, I meant to get to that last line. We'll come back to it. What's important for us to understand as Moorish Americans, so-called black people, is that for a period of time, we lost our guiding principles. We lost the way of life. We lost that. When we got enslaved, we were stripped of our creed. We were stripped of our way of life. We were stripped of the principles that help us guide our life. What are those principles? True. Oh my goodness. Yes, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Those are the principles that we live. Our forefathers and foremothers, that was their way of life. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Islam, peace. Peace with our Creator, peace with all of creation. And we got to get back to that. Because when we not living by a guiding set of principles, we in disorder. There's chaos. What we see now in our society today, especially with our people, is as a result of us not living and guiding our life by our creed, by our principles. That's what's going on. And we got to get back to that. And I wanted to highlight this specifically to Moorish Americans out there, especially ones that are just kind of coming into this information, to understand that, God, our Creator, Allah, whatever name you want to give our Creator, our Creator laid it out for us so smooth, like so amazing, that it kind of baffles me that we're not listening to the guidance. We were sent, and this, matter of fact, let me get to it. We'll read this first. In the chapter, going back to the Quran, Circle 7, in the last chapter, the last line of the last chapter, okay? So this was brought to us by Noble Drali. And in the last line of the last chapter, peep what it says. It says, we honor all the true and divine prophets. We honor all the true and divine prophets. Meaning, we have respect for, we understand, we do our due diligence and study to understand the lives that the different prophets led and understand the wisdom that they left. That's how we honor the true and divine prophets. That's our way of life. We're not just stuck to just this book. That's what you got to understand. This book is the key that opens the door to everything else. We're not just stuck. Don't just get stuck and you can only see Noble Drali and what he said and nobody else. Nah, we're supposed to take in the wisdom from all of the true and divine prophets. We're supposed to honor all of the true and divine prophets. And let me lay it out for you though. In the Mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood of the East book, it speaks about Jesus, all right? Jesus. I'll play upon Jesus back when he was 7 years old. Chapter 2, 7 years old. Life works of Jesus in Joseph's home at the age of 7 years. The home of Joseph was on Miriam Way in Nazareth. Here Mary taught her son the lessons of Elihu and Solomon. And Jesus greatly loved the Vedic hymns and the Avesta. The Vedic hymns, Vedic hymns, Hymns, and the Avesta. Avesta is Avesta. And just so you know what Avesta is, let me drop that down for you. Drop the link so you can check it out for yourself. Boom. Avesta is the primary collection of religious texts of Zoroastrianism, composed in the Avestan language. Okay? And the Vedic hymns, we'll just look that up real quick. Does it have the Vedic? Let me see if I can pull that up for you. The Vedas, yeah. The Vedas, okay. So the Avesta was the collection of spiritual texts for Zoroastrianism. Look up Zoroastrianism. And I forgot how to spell that. Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrianism is Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrianism. So Jesus was studying all the spiritual texts from Zoroastrianism. Jesus was studying the Vedas, the Vedic hymns, and the Vedas are a large body of religious texts originating in ancient India. But more than all of that, he loved to read the Psalms of David and the pungent words of Solomon. The Jewish books of prophecy were his delight. Now, this is Jesus at 7 years old. He was studying the Vedic hymns. We talking about India, talking about the Avesta, that's Zoroastrianism, that's over in Persia. The Psalms of David, the pungent words of Solomon, the Jewish books of prophecy were his delight. And when he reached his 7th year, he needed not the books to read, for he had fixed in memory every word. So at 7, Jesus had already memorized all of these books. Now I want to just put a pause on that and ask you, Moor, ask the Moors out there watching, have we memorized the Quran Circle 7? Come on now. Have we memorized it? We got some studying to do. We got to humble ourselves. If Jesus was getting busy at 7 years old, memorizing and studying all of these different texts now, what's your excuse? You got Google. We got time. I know you got some time on your hands. Are we studying? Are we honoring true and divine prophets? Jesus was humble enough to do his studying. Are we? Come on now. I'm just highlighting that as a point to show that we can study all of these different texts. We don't have this is Jesus now. Jesus was that dude. Jesus was himself a true and divine prophet, and he was studying true and divine prophets. Gotta understand, we cannot just limit ourselves and think, oh, I only need to listen to what Noble Drew Ali said, and I don't need to know what anybody else said. Come on, family. And on that note, I wanted to share some stuff from the different texts today. So I've been doing some studying, and I found some important texts. Boom. Oh, the way of purification. This is from the teachings of Buddha. The way of purification. When a wise man is advised of his errors, he will reflect on them and improve his conduct. When his misconduct is pointed out, a foolish man will not only disregard the advice, but rather repeat the same error. Come on now. What else we got highlighted? I'm just flipping through. The way of practical attainment, page 346. Faith, modesty, humbleness, endeavor, and wisdom are the great sources of strength to him who is seeking enlightenment. Among these, wisdom is the greatest of all, and the rest are but the aspects of wisdom. If a man, while in his training, loves worldly affairs, enjoys idle time, or falls asleep, falls asleep, he will be retired from the path to enlightenment. And in training for enlightenment, some may succeed quicker than others. Therefore, one should not be discouraged to see others becoming enlightened first. When a man is practicing archery, he does not expect quick success, but knows that if he practices patiently, he will become more and more accurate. A river begins as a brook, but grows ever larger until it flows into the great ocean. Like these examples, if a man trains with patience and perseverance, he surely will gain enlightenment. Is there one more from Buddha? Yeah, we got to read this. We got to read this. Okay, here we go. It says, The Way of Purification, page 256. Pindola replied, Noble Lord, Buddha has taught us to respect all women. He has taught us to look upon all old women as our mothers, upon those of our own age as our sisters, and upon younger ones as our daughters. Because of this teaching, the disciples of Buddha are able to keep their bodies and minds pure and untempted by lust, although they are youthful. Come on now. Okay, last one. Here we go. Noble Lord, replied Pindola, the Blessed One teaches us to guard the doors of the five senses. When we see beautiful figures and colors with our eyes, when we hear pleasant sounds with our ears, when we smell fragrance with our nose, and when we taste sweet things with our tongue, or touch soft things with our hands, we are not to become attached to these attractive things, neither are we to be repulsed by unattractive things. We are taught to carefully guard the door of these five senses. It is by this teaching of the Blessed One that even young disciples are able to keep their minds and bodies pure. Yeah. Oh, man. Okay, last one. One should get rid of a selfish mind and replace it with a mind that is earnest to help others. An act to make another happy inspires the other to make still another happy. And so happiness is born from such an act. All right, that's pay it forward. Pay that happiness forward. Okay, all right. What was the next one I wanted to touch on? We'll read some from Confucian and Taoist wisdom. One of the true and divine prophets mentioned is Confucius. And I want to read a few things that Confucius dropped on me. I read, page 68. Knowledge is knowing when you know it and when you don't know it. Come on now. Come on now. Let's see. Confucius said, when three people travel, there is sure to be my teacher among them. I choose that which they do well and follow it, and that which they do not do well and change it. Okay, Confucius. I wanted to share a couple more with you. All right, here we go now. Zigong asked about government. Confucius said, enough food, enough weapons, and the trust of the people. Zigong said, if you had to give up something, of these three, which would be first? The master said, give up the weapons. Zigong said, if you had to give up something of these two, what would be first? The master said, "Give up the food." From ancient times, there has always been death, but a people without trust will not stand. Come on, talk to him, Confucius. Love, truth. Oh my goodness. Talk to him, Confucius. Oh, I wanted to read this other piece too. I found this on a stumble. Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu. Wanted to read this one here. This is page 94, real quick. It says, "Weapons are the bearers of bad news. All people should detest them. The wise man values the left side, and in time of war, he values the right. Weapons are meant for destruction, and thus are avoided by the wise. Only as a last resort will a wise person use a deadly weapon. If peace is her true objective, how can she rejoice in the victory of war? Those who rejoice in victory delight in the slaughter of humanity. Those who resort to violence will never bring peace to the world. The left side is a place of honor on happy occasions." Tao Te Ching. Then I wanted to read, let's get a little of this Bible action in. I seen I probably should have marked it down. We're just gonna flip. There we go. Chapter 15, Proverbs. "The tongue of the wise useth knowledge aright, but the mouth of fools poureth out foolishness. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. A wholesome tongue is a tree of life, but perverseness therein is a breach in the spirit." Let's see. Something else here. Let's see. Chapter 10, Proverbs 2. "Treasures of wickedness profit nothing, but righteousness delivereth from death." "The Lord will not suffer the soul of the righteous to famish, but he casteth away the substance of the wicked." "Blessings are upon the head of the just, but violence covereth the mouth of the wicked." All right, is there any? Flip a couple. I think that's all I'll read from the Bible. Yeah. Then I wanted to read something real quick from the Quran. Shout out to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Well, let's read it right here. Surah 14:4. "We sent not a messenger except to teach in the language of his own people, in order to make things clear to them." I want to read a couple more from here. Let's see. Let me write this down. 1 second. Wow. This is Surah XV 18. Surah 18:56. "We only send the messengers to give glad tidings and to give warnings. But the unbelievers dispute with vain argument, in order therewith to weaken the truth. And they treat my signs and warnings as a jest. Man, if that don't speak, I just had to put a pause real quick and let me speak on this. Man, read that one more time. We only send the messengers to give glad tidings and to give warnings. But the unbelievers dispute with vain argument, in order therewith to weaken the truth, and they treat my signs and warnings as a jest. Man, it's some people that I just seen recently trying to weaken the truth that Noble Drew Ali brought. And this is coming from some people that used to identify, at least one of them, used to identify as a Moorish American. And this brother, along with some other brothers, they created this whole video, trying their best to defame and discredit Noble Drew Ali. And they even invited me on to try to defend Noble Drew Ali's teachings. But I was just like, man, I'm not into that kind of game. You know what I mean? And I want to make this clear to the people watching. Don't play around with this. Don't think that, this is some sort of come up, or this is some opportunity for you to try to become famous, or to get a bag, to get some clout. This movement, the teachings that Noble Drew Ali brought, more science, this is not to play around with. He was a real, true, and divine prophet, sent by our Creator. And he really, I know in these days and times, everybody is doing things for entertainment and podcasts and views and creating content. But humbly speaking, you really don't want to play around with something like this. You know what I mean? Because it's going to come back on you. You know what I mean? And not by some person, human being, by our Creator. Our Creator is watching us all, and we all are going to be judged by our actions and by the intent of our actions. And the people that try to mislead or confuse or the people that try to mislead or confuse those that are on this path, that are working to better themselves, that are working to know themselves and to know our Creator, the people that try to mislead people on that path really are going to suffer. So I'm asking you, please, and you know who you are watching out there, stop doing that for your own sake. And and to anybody else, don't even feed into that energy. You know what I mean? Let them, man, 1 second. I got a book for you. Praise Allah. Praise Allah. Just sparked the thought. See, back to the Quran. In the Quran, it speaks about how different people had different names for Allah. 1 second. Boom. Here we go. Chapter 10 says, all people worship Allah, the one, but all the people see him not alike. All men see not the true in Allah. Here we go. The nation of the earth see Allah from different points of view, and so he does not seem the same to everyone. Man names the part of Allah he sees, and this to him is all of Allah. You Brahmins call him Padabram. In Egypt, he is Thoth. Zeus is his name in Greece. Jehovah is his Hebrew name. But everywhere he is the causeless cause, the rootless root, from which all things have grown. And I just wanted to mention that one, in Egypt he is Thoth. Going to Egypt, the teachings of Ptah-hotep. And also, on a side note, study this book here before we get to the teachings of Ptah-hotep. This is the Kabbalion Hermetic philosophy, and it is said to have come from Thoth. There's no portion of the occult teachings possessed by the world which have been so closely guarded as the fragments of the Hermetic teachings, which have come down to us over the tens of centuries which have elapsed since the lifetime of its great founder, Hermes Trismegistus. And Hermes Trismegistus is supposed to be like another name for Thoth. Anyways, getting to Egypt, the teachings of Ptah-hotep, what came to mind was this teaching that I learned a while ago. Here we go. It says, if you meet a disputant in the heat of action, first, no, do not be proud and arrogant with your knowledge. That's number one. But then it says, if you meet a disputant in action who is a poor man and who is not your equal, do not attack him because he is weak. Leave him alone. He will confound himself. Do not answer him just so that you can relieve your own heart. Do not vent yourself against your opponent. Wretched is he who injures a poor man. If you ignore him, listeners will wish to do your want. You will beat him through their reproof. And I wanted to read that in reference to people that talk crazy about Noble Drew Ali, or talk crazy about Moors, or talking disrespectful about you. You know what I mean? If you're watching this and you're one of the people that are teaching out there, and people are talking crazy because you're teaching about more science and Noble Drew Ali, don't feed into that. Don't beat down on them just because you know that they're incorrect and you have the ability to. Just because you had it right, you know what I mean? Just because you're in the right and you know they don't know what they're talking about, I could really just go in on them, right? You don't got to do that. Just stay humble. Let them talk and say all the vain and all the disrespectful, the mean, the hateful, any of that stuff. Let them do that. You keep it respectful. You keep it loving. You know what I mean? You stay in your higher self. You feel me? And they will expose themselves. And over time, their ways will be exposed, and they'll receive the karma for their actions. You ain't got to join in. You ain't got to drop down to their level. Don't drop down to their level just because they talking crazy. You know what I mean? And that goes for people that's outside the Moorish movement talking to you crazy, or people inside the Moorish movement and talking to you crazy. Still don't. You feel me? Come on now. Let me get back to this Quran. I want to read one. I know I had highlighted another piece I just read. Well, I'm gonna read one more little piece and then I'm gonna get up out of here. I just wanted to share some spiritual stuff with you today, and also just to be mindful. If you see Moorish Americans speaking negatively or speaking mean or disrespectfully about another religion or religion in general, please understand that is not our way. That's not how we're supposed to be. You know what I mean? And do your best if you can to guide them back to the proper path, which is honoring all true and divine prophets. All of them. You feel me? Because there's wisdom to be obtained from all of them. And if there was any questions, also, I can answer any questions. Ooh, here go one. Ooh, okay, here go a couple. My goodness. Yeah, we'll get these two. This is Surah 2, 183. O ye who believe, fasting is prescribed to you, as it was prescribed to those before you, that ye may learn self-restraint. Self-restraint. And then and make not Allah's name an excuse in your oaths against doing good or acting rightly, or making peace between persons. For Allah is one who heareth and knoweth all things. Allah will not call you to account for thoughtlessness in your oaths, but for the intention in your hearts. And He is oft forgiving, most forbearing. It's about that intention, man. It's about that intention. What's in your heart? Only you and God really know. But your intention, man, is everything. Your intention is key, man. I am intending on finding this one last little piece. All right. I'll read this one and I think I'm gonna close it on out. Man, it's a whole lot I'm seeing as I flip through. Man. I already read that one. All right, I'm gonna read this one and get up out of here because I can't find the one I'm looking for. Yeah. But no worries. God is the best of planners. All right, last little piece that I wanted to read. Praise Allah. Be quick in the race for forgiveness from your Lord, and for a garden whose width is that of the whole of the heavens and of the earth, prepared for the righteous, those who spend freely, whether in prosperity or in adversity, who restrain anger and pardon all men, for Allah loves those who do good. And those who, having done something to be ashamed of, or wrong their own souls, earnestly bring Allah to mind, and ask for forgiveness for their sins. And who can forgive sins except Allah? Powerful, man. Hey, man, if you've done some wrong, you know what I mean? Do your best to correct your mistakes, make speedy reparations if you made some mistakes, and more importantly, ask our Creator for forgiveness. Allah is the most forgiving. Got to do it with that pure intention, though. You can't do it just for the look. You can't just do it. You can't do it for the clout, man. You got to do it with the true intention of being forgiven and working to do better. And that's really what we all have to do, because we are all striving on this this journey that we call life. We are all striving to be better, hopefully to be better than we were the day before. Thank you for watching. Again, honor all the true and divine prophets. You know what I mean? As Moorish Americans, our religion, we are getting back to Islamism, which is peace with Allah and peace with Allah's creation. But understand, Islam isn't restricted to this very small, you know, limited view. Understand that, in us returning to Islam, we are still going to be studying and learning and appreciating and applying. That's more than just studying and appreciating and applying the wisdom from all the true and divine prophets. That's really, when you're talking about honoring somebody, you know what I mean, understand what they were about. Understand what these prophets, Confucius, Buddha, Jesus, Moses, Muhammad, um, Noble Drew Ali, peace be upon them all. Study what they did. Study who they were. Study and learn about the way they lived their lives. And then apply the wisdom. You know what I mean? Don't just study and have these books and highlight a bunch of stuff to say that you know it. Apply this to your real life. You know what I mean? Shout out to Martin Luther King. Study. He has this speech called "Love Thy Enemies." Is it "Love Thy Enemies"? No. Love your enemies. Excuse me. Love your enemies. Martin Luther King Jr. has a speech. Love your enemies. Very important. You know what I mean? Because Noble Drew Ali says we're supposed to learn how to love instead of hate. Yeah, it's easy to love the people that love you, but what about the enemies? What about the ops? What about the people, your foe, that seeks to do you harm? Can you serve that person? Well, if you study, you can learn. Um, Man, love instead of hate. Love is the key. Love is the way. You know what I mean? That's one of the most important lessons that Noble Drew Ali brought to us. Gotta have that love in it. If you don't got the love in it, none of this, everything else ain't gonna matter. All the knowledge and the nationality and this law and that law, yeah. But you ain't got no love in your heart, man. Gotta have that love in your heart. Thank you. Keep shining. Study. If you want more information, if you don't have, I'm gonna drop that there in the link. If you don't have the Quran Circle 7, you can check it out free online. I'm about to drop the link in there for you. Boom, like that there. And really, if you look online, you can find the religious text to the Quran Circle 7, the Quran, the Bible. A lot of the wisdom is out there. So yeah, seek the truth, seek that wisdom, and man, as Moorish Americans, love instead of hate. Study Noble Drew Ali, honor all true and divine prophets, and praise Allah, man. Get in touch with our Creator. You know what I mean? Don't think that you can do this without our Creator, because that's what's really got this. That's who really, you know what I mean? And I'm done. Peace. Much love to you.